All right. How's everybody doing today? I am going to do a quick tiptoe through the California ballot here. I live in a county and in a state that tells us to vote early and mail your vote. I wonder why they're so dead set on that. I'm going to tell you, vote in person at a polling place, show up, and greet those people that actually are involved in the political process, besides people that are sifting through mail-in ballots for whatever reason. But show up, be part of the process, put some effort into it. The party that abhors human effort makes voting as effortless as possible. In this state, they're recruiting homeless people and everybody else. And people say, well, don't they have the right to vote? Yes, they do. But the fact of the matter is if they wouldn't otherwise show up, and if they're not doing what we're going to do here today with someone who, or with others who are at least reasonable, paying attention, right, to something other than needfulness or absence of, what are they calling themselves now? They are being called the underserved. Well, the productive citizens, it's important for us, and for compassionate reasons, by the way, to pay attention to how things are being done. Most of the strife that's currently involved in our state and across the nation is created by government anyway, and that's another video, or probably the rest of them, huh? Or all of them. Anyway, a quick rundown how I'm going to vote. I'll give you a hint. No. And I'm voting no on everything, and I'm going to explain that. And then in the office races, I'm going to vote straight Republican. No libertarians made the balloting. It's really sad. I haven't went through all the judges yet, so perhaps some of them actually still have a liberty bent. That'll be another. I'll keep that more personal, but straight Republican, because the state's under one-party rule, and even if you should be voting for something different than what's going on here if you live here, and you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not paying attention, and that's okay, I guess. So here we go. Proposition 1, actually we're going to go to, it's Proposition 1 first. Sorry, I was on the wrong page there. Proposition 1 amends the California Constitution to expressly include an individual's fundamental right to reproductive freedom, which includes the fundamental right to choose to have an abortion and the fundamental right to choose or refuse contraceptives. I'm not sure what that has to do with anything. The bottom line is California law already allows abortion. It's already a protected procedure, has been for a long time. And the Constitution, state and federal constitutions, are supposed to be designed to prescribe, describe, and quantify government's relation to the people it serves. Terminating pregnancies is not zero, not a that's something that shouldn't even be addressed in the federal constitution or in your state's constitution. Constitutions actually, if we're evolving, we need to go through and start sifting out things that apply to women only, to blacks only, to tribal, native, indigenous peoples only. We need to get back to having constitutions speak to the all citizens' relationship to government. That's all a constitution is supposed to do. Ideally limiting said governments, but again, states are allowed to do what they want. They're saying no direct fiscal impact. That's a lie. Governor Newsom is actually proposing that once he gets this leveled in, that then he can justify people coming from out of state to have their abortions done here as a sanctuary situation or reproductive rights situation, and we'll get the bill. You, California citizens, will be paying the bill for, and this also will include that as well. So, I'm voting no because its constitution should have no constitution should have anything to do with terminating pregnancies. Which, by the way, in the first trimester, I think should be just in the spirit of Roe versus Wade, which was bad law because it was done in the spirit rather than properly. I would absolutely say in the first trimester, it's none of anybody's damn business what a woman does with her pregnancy. And I would want a streamlined, woman-friendly process for any late-term abortions to be available to them. And abortion, terminating pregnancies, should not be an industry. There should be no federal funds involved in that whatsoever. Period. End of story. Right now, Medicaid and Medicare funds are tapped for those types of procedures, which it shouldn't be. There shouldn't be an abortion industry financed by government, because anything financed by government is financed by you. And if it's none of my business what you do with your body, then you shouldn't be able to get a cent from me to do it. Fair enough? All right. Proposition 26, another gambling proposition. I don't care for this. Initiative, constitutional amendment and statute is kind of built into the wording of the Proposition 26. This is about allows in-person, they're just upping the types of gambling that can be done in the state. I'm voting no on this for a very specific reason, because the FOR group is the Coalition for Safe, Responsible Gambling. Again, not government's job. By the way, there's no such a thing as safe, responsible gambling. It's an irresponsible vice that people do precisely because it's risky and it gives the little brain, it gives your synapses a thrill. That's why it's gambling. And again, we need to be getting government out of this process. Remember how that lottery that they brought in to get you used to gambling, sanctioned by government? That's supposed to save the schools and all. Well, this is supposed to do all kinds of things for homeless people and tribes and all that. And it's not going to. It's just the state being involved in something it shouldn't be involved in. So I'm voting no on 26. I'm voting no on 27 for the same reason. The differences don't. Now, the differences don't matter. They say they're going to fund housing, mental health, and addiction treatment. It's still that the tribal entities are still kind of getting to monopolize what's going on with the power of the state for an activity that the state shouldn't be involved in, period. So just, again, it's another no. It's just another no. And if you think for a minute that, well, the California lottery didn't fix our schools any more than gambling has fixed all the tribal communities in this state, and gambling initiative funding is not going to, well, if we want to talk about vagrancy and addiction, I'm your guy, and there ain't nothing the state's going to be able to do about that until they acknowledge what the problem is. And it's a behavioral and mental health issue, not a homeless issue. So again, these people are ill-equipped to use these funds for that. And again, gambling isn't something that the state should be involved in. It also has the initiative constitutional amendment statute, but they don't really talk too much about what that is. But you can certainly dig deeper and find that out. Proposition 28 provides additional funding for arts and music education in public schools. I'm voting no. I'm voting no because I have no interest in the public school system. As a fiscal impact, the state would provide additional funding, about $1 billion annually they're talking about here. I like the way we throw billions around now like it's nothing. The fact is I'd like kids to be spending less time in school and more time in arts and sports and stuff. I learned more in recess and summer vacation, or as much as I did in the classroom, and I'm grateful for my classroom experience back in the day too. So this is one I'm a no, but I don't think that relative to what this state's up to, this certainly isn't a pretty innocuous proposition. Proposition 29 requires on-site licensed medical professionals at kidney dialysis clinics. This is a union ploy. One of the largest unions, medical unions, with one of the largest companies, is throwing this at private for-profit kidney dialysis centers that are there's lots of them, and they're doing a great service. For I think the number they're using is at least 80,000 Californians suffering from renal issues, kidney problems. Again, this is a union. This is a union end around to harm free enterprise. That's exactly what it is. And I'll leave the names out of it because I don't want to get shadow banned, but that's a fact. Leave them alone. I don't know anybody who's getting dialysis that has had any problems. And there's other ways if the clinic's not treating you well. This says you should have a licensed medical professional at the dialysis center. They're just trying to make it more difficult for people to go outside of, outside of the state constructed medical industry. So again, America's Nurses Association, Medical Association, patient advocates, they're talking about 80,000 patients who need dialysis to survive. Again, it's just because it's an attack on private enterprise. That's what it is. And this isn't their first time either. So again, it's here. The United Healthcare Workers West. Service Employees International Union, United Healthcare Workers West. I apologize for not having read that. So yeah, that's who's throwing this out there. Union against non-union shop. That's all it is. So vote no. Vote no. Leave people alone. Proposition 30 provides funding for programs to reduce air pollution and prevent wildfires by increasing tax on personal income over $2 million. This is envy and greed. This is how they get most people to be Democrats. Get those rich people. Actually, if you're sucked into that, it's just pure envy. Taxing rich people isn't the solution to the problems. Period. It's just not. You know what you do? You want a constitutional amendment? Since coining money is already in there and taxation has been in there, we could probably work on that 16th Amendment, huh? Get that one. No more tax on income. 5% tax on consumables, all consumables other than food at the federal level. 5% tax on sales tax at the state level, and then 2.5 for any municipality and 2.5 for any city. So the maximum that you'd be taxed on anything you purchase is 15%, no income tax whatsoever. There's my solution. That would also rein in the size. And now that should be constitutional amendments there. But anyway, no, because get the rich, always vote no on get the rich, because it's petulant children, envious little Marxists do that. And don't buy into that. It ain't going to fix a damn thing anyway. The state doesn't do anything well. So here we go. Proposition 31. This is a referendum that would prohibit the retail sale of certain flavored tobacco products. As an ex-smoker, ex-dope fiend, and ex-drinker, I will tell you this. Fancy unicorns and fancy flavors, and I was a Marlboro guy because the people I knew were Marlboro guys. It wasn't because of the Marlboro man. The Winston guy was cool, the Marlboro man was cool, the Camel was cool, the Lucky Strike people were cool, the Virginia Slims ladies were pretty damn cool. We didn't choose our tobacco products. People choose addictive products and products of that nature because they've got too much time on their hands, or they're running around with the wrong people. Sports, martial arts, music, arts, all those things that they're talking about elsewhere. Get your children involved in all of that stuff and make sure that they're well-adjusted individuals, and they're not likely to pick up. They're not as nearly as likely to even be tempted to pick up. But this is just the war on the tobacco companies always infuriated me. It's one of the first tools they used to get those envy people and the victim people on board with the busybodies who are trying to engineer our society based on what they think is best for us. So I'm voting no on this. You're not going to stop one addict with this nonsense. People either get addicted to substances because they repeatedly go back to them to treat something going on here, or they don't. Period. All right. And that's all I got for the propositions. I'm voting against all of the bond measures. Bond measures are just bills that come due later. Period. And there's a bunch of them. They're going to talk about fixing up schools, still playing around with the asbestos nonsense and all the things that are supposedly going to kill our kids in the schools. I'm no on the bond measures because bonds are just bills that come due later, and I'm not an advocate of that. But be sure to read all of those carefully. Maybe vote for the ones in your district and not elsewhere. Hell, I don't know. They're not of great interest to me. Again, I'm going to vote straight Republican. I'm a libertarian. We didn't get anyone on the ballot. I haven't read through the judges, as I said earlier. Lon He Chen, state controller. Okay, he's a money guy. He's a dollar guy. Yes, he's a Republican, but come on. Even if you're a Democrat and you're comfortable with the spending, Lon He Chen is an accountability guy. So at least at the controller's level, can we vote him in? I've heard him speak a great deal. Some of the radio stations I listen to and elsewhere, and he's the right guy for that job. Okay, at least we can agree on accountability, right? So that's all I got today. Again, don't vote by mail. Don't necessarily vote early. Show up on voting day. Thank the people sitting there willing to help, irregardless of what stripe they are, and make sure that your ballot is being processed in person by you and them. And be part of that wonderful process. I'm old enough to remember when we knew the results at the end of the night when we did it that way. Funny how that is. Anyway, have a great day, and I'm going to spend the rest of it not worrying about what they're trying to do to us. Try not to get any on you.